Hello, I'm Tylah Tully, and today I'm joined by ADX Energy Executive Chair Ian Tchacos. Ian, thanks for being here today.
Hi Tylah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
So you've just put out a resource update for the Sicily Channel permit. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, look, it's quite a big update. We've increased our resources by over 30%, but importantly, the mean resource is around 600 BCF. The upside's about 1.2 TCF, and just to get that into an order of magnitude, like a million standard cubic feet of gas is worth about 10 million euros. So 600 BCF of gas is worth about 6 billion euros. So a lot to play for in a very benign environment, close to infrastructure, shallow water. Yeah, we're very, very excited about it.
And those nearby fields seem important. What are they showing you about the potential in your permit?
Yeah, look, it's the fields, but it's also historic exploration that's really critical. We're surrounded by two other fields which are direct analogies. An old one called Lipona Massara, which is onshore, about 50 kilometres away. And then a new one that's been developed quite recently, in fact went into production August last year, the Argo Cassiope field. They're both direct analogies geologically. They're shallow, they're same Miocene reservoirs, and what we can learn is we've got 2D seismic, which is the older form of seismic, which is a basis on which our area was explored historically. And then when you look at the 2D seismic that also at Argo Cassiope they had, then they shoot 3D and you can just see a lot more. So what you're seeing is, what we can see is we can see gas. We actually have historical data from actually, exploration within our area. And what happened was they're exploring for deeper oil. As they drill through these gas zones, they'd see it in their wells. So of course we've got direct evidence that the gas is there, but then by analogy we can start to see how much could potentially be there, because that what you have there is stacked pay. So it's not just like one gas reservoir, it could be up to 10 gas reservoirs. So that's helped us get our eye in, helped us kind of understand the resource potential. But also we've explored very close to this area ourselves. We drilled a well historically about in around 2020, and we actually had very similar results. We were actually drilling for deeper oil, and we was getting a lot of gas. In fact, it was really a problem actually drilling through the shallow gas. So this is a kind of an area that's been neglected for a long time. And we were lucky, we actually applied for this in 2014. So as a result, no one else could get their hands on it. Now, obviously, Europe's gagging for gas. Gas is what everyone's looking for. And we're right on the doorstep of Europe, less than 50 kilometres from shore. If we compare where we are compared to the Argo Cassiope field that's been developed, they're in 700 metres of water. We're in 100 metres of water. So it also means that we could do what we call a subsea tieback, which just means, all your wells are on the seafloor, you just tie them back with a single pipeline, and that means also you've got a much more cost-effective development. So, yeah, there's some great analogies so that we'll continue to build on, and it gets our eye in and allows us to explore much more effectively.
You might have just touched on it there, but with this update, what's your plan for the Sicily Channel project?
Well, going forward, in January we're going into a data room, because a lot of the data that's available to us has been when we were looking at the deeper oil fields that we were looking to actually go back and redevelop. Now we're more focused on gas. There actually is more data out there, more well data, more seismic data, and we're going to use that data to refine our resource assessment. And then we're going to go to an independent expert to get it validated, because it's one thing if I say it, it's another thing if you're like a well-known third party says it.
And how does this progress in Italy line up with what you're doing in Austria?
Yeah, look, in a way what we're doing in Austria is very analogous. We've actually come across a shallow gas play, very similar actually aged reservoirs, except this is onshore. The magnitude is probably 1/10 or 1/20th, but the difference here is you're maybe 200 metres away from a pipeline. So what we've identified when we looked at, and this is a combination of AI and, if you like, seismic analysis, what we've looked at is all these historic discoveries that they made 20 or 30 years ago. They were made with old-fashioned seismic. They were actually drilling for deeper oil, same story. They intersected gas. at around 1,000 metres, and all of these, a lot of these have been developed, and we were saying, okay, well, what's left? What haven't they drilled? And then we can see on modern seismic, there's about 10 of these things that haven't been drilled. Most of them are in our acreage, so we're going to start drilling those. And typically when we drill, oil and gas wells, we're talking about a 20-30% chance of success. In this case, we think we're sort of 70 to 90% chance of success. So they're low risk, they're cheap to drill, they're very close to infrastructure. So then that gives us the opportunity to substantially increase our existing production in Austria, and moving more from where we are now, oil at about 300 barrels a day, to gas, and being able to do it very quickly.
It's definitely a very exciting opportunity.
Yeah, look, it is. It provides, immediate kind of organic growth. And then you've got Italy out there, which is very high impact. If we can grow the company in between time, probably what we'll be doing in the next year or so is shooting 3D seismic, and then potentially bring in a bigger partner to maybe come and drill 2 or 3 wells for us.
Ian, thanks so much for your time today.
It's a pleasure, Tyler.
For more ASX news and analysis, subscribe below.